Plaid Tale Innocence, which I'm playing by choice and not because of any overlap in contemporary circumstances, was released in 2019 to universal acclaim. It's a story set in the first 100 years of the 100 Years' War. In discussing inspiration, the developers repeatedly mention ᴘᴇᴅ and also narrative experiences like Naughty Dog games. I have to admit that this latter point kind of disqualifies me from being able to cogently discuss this game. Or even, understand it. I've been confused by Garfield strips, this is really not my thing. But doing things that are outside of your wheelhouse has its own charm. I always try these things that don't have my name printed on them because I hope that I'll be able to see what others see and expand my appreciation of the medium. Trying new things can even be fun. I can think of about 2 people I know that are open to fleshed out stories in their games, and to those people I say, make sure you're okay with details before you listen any further, because I'm about to blow the lid on this story wide open. Even more so than usual, because it's the whole thing, you know what I mean? So alright, wind the clock back, and then uninvented. It's the Middle Ages. In the French countryside, a pleasant stroll and pursuit of bacon gets turned into foreshadowing when the family dog accidentally walks into the filming of a horror movie. Dark. Oh well, back at the homestead we barely have time to get indoors and tell Mom the doggone story before a full-blown crusade gets launched on our bloodline. So, a mediocre day, unless we woke up this morning wanting to be a main character. At least it can't get any worse.
Hurry now! Follow the river! It will lead you to ᴘᴜᴜ. Mother, no!
Well, that was abrupt. Okay, well, we keep tracking plot inside the house, so maybe we should just take a walk in town instead? Oh wait, that's right. This is also the year where everybody is celebrating the first anniversary of the time the known world collapsed. Oh, this takes me back. See, I took big boy history in high school because it was worth geek points. The actual worth is up for debate, but I did learn a lot of cool things about awful stuff that previously happened. And this game strongly reminded me of my teacher explaining the hurricane of despair that fell on the shores of humanity in these years. You can't imagine the paranoia and fear snaking its way through a population that lost, in some places, half its number. People couldn't even describe it. I mean, it would be another 7 centuries before the invention of Big Oof. You really can't do better than the Black Plague when it comes to settings for uncertainty and hopelessness. How much more metal can you get than a pile of your relatives and neighbors like a giant casserole? I wish I had come up with that image myself, but that's a quote. Incidental touches make this setting really connect with you. There's abandoned streets, untended groceries left to rot in the sun, door markings, all the classics of a blazing fast infection. But these are passive indicators. How about an active one? What do you say to a good old-fashioned child hunt? Fun fact, although maybe that's the wrong word, but the big witch hunts that swept across Europe are coincidentally not very far from the paranoia of this time. Oh well, witchcraft was always causing some kind of problem somewhere, even before this. But that's boring. Child hunt, child hunt, child hunt! Running for My Life was where I really noticed the soundtrack, which was pulsing along with the tension. It's kind of minimal, so I can't say it's a really memorable soundtrack, but it's effective at setting a mood and communicating tone. Part of that might be that it's engaged in the player's actions both outside and inside of scripted scenes. For example, the cellos, which I always notice first as the voice of this music, are almost always used for alarms and environmental cues. That uniformity probably helps it inform the player's mood. With the help of some kindly locals, we upgrade our threads to... This thing kind of threw me off. Is this like a design thing, or was there a legitimate problem with elbow theft around this time? Okay, wait, sorry, that's not important. What is important, though, is that our Babby's first sling kills people now, which makes it perfect for some self-preservation trauma. Even the dude who was hunting us gets in on the motif. He definitely shifts from the topic of smashing to maybe just mortality in general. I should say, there's flavor dialogue that's supposed to put this sudden morose attitude in context.
Conrad lost his mind when his kid died.
He's not having a good day. But the main reason I was confused by this is because a second ago, he seemed to be having a blast playing hide and seek. It's also kind of an orphaned idea. Pretty soon we'll have a body count that Liam Neeson would be proud of. Actually, jokes aside, I will say this part of the game is all pretty cohesive in my opinion. We spend 2 or 3 full chapters building up desperation and the need to protect family, followed by reluctant action. And there's a moment to absorb the gravity of that culmination with the next few minutes. I just think that having a guy yell about it while swinging a mace is not the most graceful way to land that message. We'll get back to this in just a minute, but for now just think loud noises. Just remember that for later. Anyway, pathos is all well and good, but I had a certain expectation when I started this thing, so let's get the other shoe to drop, yeah? So, okay, skip ahead a little. Friar Tuck says, go through the Shrine of the Silver Monkey, yada yada. Boom! Eaten by rats, yeah! Now we're talking. This is what I've been waiting for. Ever since like E3 of 2016, when we saw a bunch of rats eat a guy. And I was like, yeah, I'll play that. I'm sure it skeeves some people out, and in my mind that makes it a tremendous success. When I was a child, seeing this many rats on screen would have been a fever dream, some kind of David Lynch shit. Shout out to whoever set up this moment here where you pull aside a rat wave and find the bottom half of this guy AWOL. That's just cool no matter who you are. Escaping along the street, our main goal is now to find our family doctor to help with our brother's mystery illness. See if he maybe got some ointment that'll help with our parents are dead. Now, okay, wait, we have to stop here. This box of armor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you as the core of my thesis on Plaid Tale Innocence. The keystone of the arch of the visual metaphor of the printed out pamphlet of this irrelevant meeting called My Thoughts. This is a box of armor like what you might find at home or in a barracks, and we used it to make noise and escape sneaky like. I ask you, why is there a box of armor in the street in the middle of nowhere? Now, okay, I hear your thoughts. I can taste your feelings. You think, that can't be it, that's not analysis, that's stupid. My response is thus. Well, nuh-uh. Due to sometimes reuse of assets and sometimes just plain immediate solutions to problems, most puzzles and encounters in this game have no tension. Sometimes this even makes characters seem comically powerful. The first time we break a clasp with the sling, there's a purposeful indication that it must be feeble and old. How else would we be able to break it with a rock? How lucky. And yet lo, across the whole of fine France, all clasps, at any range, for the rest of the game are now 4 times weak to rock damage. But it's probably not that they all look the same, rather it's that they're always right next to any problem that needs to be solved. Seems like every time rats get involved you sort of crane the camera a few inches and 80% of the time find something hanging nearby to help. Now, my friend, look again. Why is there a box of armor there, in the middle of the street, in a forest, in a cornfield? You see, it's not that the armor is there, it's that the armor is there. Some restriction or difficulty or differentiation of approach would really help here. I can't argue that it's needed for gameplay because I don't think that's really the intention here. Like they said, narrative experiences, right? But I can argue that having every problem solved in such a straightforward way greatly reduces the drama. This allows me to reuse my argument and save a lot of time. Okay, so we meet up with the doctor and he reveals to us that the reason our family was attacked and that we're being pursued is that an ancient evil is tied to our bloodline, and if it wakes up, it'll like, question mark? I don't know, there's some bad shit, okay? Go over there for a second. And we leave the house, and he's like, boom, action movie death, peace out! And then he never has to answer any more questions. Sad. We stumble onto a battlefield, which is, okay, hang on, time out. Anytime these guys get to show off a set piece is really cool. Piles of dead bodies on the battlefield, a gallows specifically to start offing sick people, a ridge of slaughtered farm animals. I don't know what you call this in France. In America, I think we just call this a number 4. The finest strength of this game is the visual direction and presentation. Beautiful, gruesome, striking. Fine stuff. While I was talking, we got caught. But it's okay because we get busted out by Assassin's Creed, I don't know, whichever one is the French one. I can't decide if it would be funnier if there isn't a French one, or if it turns out there actually is a French one. And gently, we killed like 15 people on the way out this Renaissance fair. This is why I said earlier, I don't know if you remember like a couple minutes ago, when I was like, I don't think that's the intention. This isn't for complexity of enemy response or robustitude of tactics. It's like halfway cutscene territory. That goes for puzzles too. I'm not a puzzle man, I'm very simple. For me, puzzle good if not look at puzzle and see end of puzzle. I don't mean the actual physical end of the puzzle. I mean a single twist obscuring method from solution so it doesn't end up feeling like a checklist. Which means, by the way, that an impossible, internally inconsistent puzzle like a daytime soap opera of puzzles would pass my puzzle test. The doctor tipped us off to hide out in a castle, which we do successfully, until we learn that mommy is alive, surprise, and the kid runs off in secret to see her, oops. When they get reunited, it turns out that the disease that mom had been trying to cure was rat kinesis. The exact reason why this needs to be cured is left for the sequel. I mean, I think it's awesome. I say give this kid a Chuck E. Cheese costume right now, let him have at it. Hell, I got his X-Men name right here, watch this. Pest Control, wait no. Verminator, wait no, wait. Speedy Gonzales. wait. Brat Tattooey. Wait, I got like 8 more. Also, the reason we're in this mess is that the regional manager of the local churches wants some of that blood because when the disease progresses, he will also simultaneously receive rat powers. Now, wanting to be Magneto is a little standard for villain motivation, but I tend to think it's all in execution, and that's where this game shines, because all of the acting is top-notch. I will say though, it seems like every time it's time to hammer home a scene with a conflict, everyone starts yelling over top of each other, which kind of ruins it for me. Guys, why is everyone yelling at the same time? Am I supposed to be able to... Guys. Loud noises. This is a very small suggestion, but it's probably the most relevant to what the game is trying to accomplish. It's probably easier to tug on heartstrings if the message isn't being muddied up by a whole bunch of triggers going off at once. Speaking of emotions, games have a lot of novel ways to make people feel feelings that haven't been codified the way movie language has. That's the nature of such a fluid medium. But I think one thing I noticed here is that this game can't quite decide what it wants you to feel, which sort of hurts its approach. Like, I've seen at least 2 interviews that mention specifically that the core of the presentation is childish innocence facing survival in a brutal scenario like this one. That jives with the first bit, where you kill to survive, and it has a lot of weight, but then it seems like they didn't want to bog the player down by making killing too hard or by encouraging pacifism, so the rest of the time you just go on a rampage. I'll say it this way. For me, the amount of times guilt and conscience comes up in this game is perfect. But I think for most people that means it's not enough. Because when I'm playing a game, I'm a sociopath. I'm the kind of person that would describe feeling and empathy by saying, games can make people feel feelings. And this is supposed to be for not that, the other way that people can be. That's it, and even though this may seem like a mixed bag to some people, I'm positive on it. I'll play the next one. Give it to me. Give it.